Live. Welcome
Hey,
everyone. This
good
is
morning,
Benzinga
everyone.
Crypto Unlocked episode 3. This episode
Mhm.
will be covering gaming in Web3. So, hello Justin, how are you?
Hey, Jose, how you doing today? I'm excited because today we are going to talk about GameFi, which is one of my very favorite parts of the whole DeFi and crypto world. How about you?
Yes, sir, me too. It's time to post this on social. So everybody in the audience, please take a screenshot, drop it on YouTube, drop it on your Instagram stories. So we're live here. Please join live at YouTube. I dropped the link on my stories on my Twitter feed, so come join us. So I will be sharing
Definitely.
this right now in my Instagram, dropping it also on Twitter. Make sure to drop your comments, smash the like button. Today we have amazing panels, big industry leaders. Yesterday at night, we had the pleasure of recording the first keynote slot with Jihoz, a great man, a traveler, an industry leader. He has such amazing insights on the industry
Mhm.
itself, on Axie, on gaming Web3, crypto as a whole. And I'm so excited that we could create this episode today to share it with you guys, with the Benzinga community.
Mhm.
And any remarks you would like to make, Justin, before we get started?
No, just that I'm really excited. I mean, let's go ahead and give people an idea of who's going to be talking here today. First of all, we've got Axie Infinity, which is pretty much the OG of GameFi, really the first relevant GameFi project in the space. Been pretty much at the top of the heap for the past 3 years or so. Really looking forward to that, and really looking forward as J Rod had alluded to that keynote, specifically with one of their co-founders, followed by an Axie community panel. Is that correct, Gerard? Who do we have on that community panel? You want to shout anybody out?
Yeah, we will have after the keynote slot, we have the honor of having Axie victories, milestones, and future plans. My dear friend Osito Lima, Axie Latam lead, will be present at the panel. We also have Rojan and Hantao. I'm not sure if the pronunciation is correct. We'll ask him then. But
Mm-hmm.
content creators, Quest co-founder, we then we're going to follow with another panel, including also big gaming projects. But well, we can take time to.
Splinterlands is going to be on. Alien Worlds is going to be on. Avagachi, which is a really innovative game. I mean, not the other twos aren't, but I've really been impressed with Avagachi during this past year. We've got several others coming on as well. Upland and also B&B Chain coming on as well. So that's a pretty heavy hitting panel in terms of people who are actually movers in the GameFi space. I'm really looking forward to talking to them a little bit about what play to earn means in a down market. I mean, it's all fine and well when you can make a second income in 2020 by playing video games, but what does it mean in 2023 when everybody's suffering?
Yes, sir, totally. And I don't want to make any spoilers from the keynote slot, but the interview is lit. Amazing interview, great insights. It's really a pleasure speaking with leaders of that kind, and I think they add so much to the community. For well, I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil. Let's go ahead and well, I have to make the disclaimer that we pre-recorded a few hours ago at night because Jihoz is in Japan. So due to the
Mhm.
schedule, it was the best timing. Always prefer making live. All the panels will be live, but the keynote was pre-recorded just a few hours ago, so it's just fresh, just taken out of the oven. So let's go ahead, Justin. What do you think?
All right, here we go. Thanks, everyone. We're going to go ahead and go into that recording. This is our keynote interview, fireside chat with one of the founders of Axie Infinity.
Can't miss it. We're live.
Hello, this is Justin Roberti with Benzinga, and we're very pleased today to have Jihoz, who is the co-founder of Axie Infinity, with us today. Hi, Jihoz. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
thank you so much for joining us today. Obviously, Axie Infinity has been, one of the very early leaders and has had a huge impact on kind of defining what the game space, is and could be. What do you see at this point in 2023? Projects continue to innovate, but at the same time, the market has been down for a while now. What do you see as the role of GameFi in terms of bringing new people into the Web3 space?
Well, our thesis is that games are the best way to onboard people to Web3 because it combines something that 2 billion people on this planet are familiar with, and and gamers are already familiar with digital currencies, right, and interacting with these digital economies. So it is kind of second nature to us. And yeah, so many of us who were founders of Sky Mavis, Axie, Ronin, we were not interested in crypto when it was mainly about speculation. But when we learned that crypto through NFTs could be about collecting things, playing games, that's when it got really interesting to us. And we think that that will be the case for a majority of the people on this planet.
Great.
And once you're onboarded into this new economy, you start to learn that it's actually superior in many ways. Right? Like, for example, although the act of creating a wallet right now is quite complex, once you have a wallet, right, you can use that to log into any EVM application. So
all right, perfect, great point. J-Rod?
Yeah, I would like to know your view on how the play to earn narrative matured during this bear market.
Sure. So I think play to earn was a very good catchphrase, and that it very I would say that it simplified, perhaps oversimplified, one of the new benefits of a Web3 gaming economy. And I believe that the profits and the economic opportunities in these digital economies will ebb and flow, just like Bitcoin mining profitability ebbs and flows, right? I think a majority of miners run their mining rigs at a loss during bear markets, right? But they do it because they believe in the movement. They want to provide a service, and they also believe that the future value of the thing that they're securing will be larger in the future. So I think that the economic opportunities in these Web3 gaming economies, they'll be volatile, but we know that life is becoming increasingly digitized. People want to show off and flex online. Right. So to me, like, I actually believe that what we see and what we saw and what we will continue to see is, right, Bitcoin goes up, then ETH goes up, then alts go up. And then, right, when people have made it, they want to, right, they're not going to go back to, they're going to keep spending a lot of their time online, talking to other people who are interested in Web3 with them. They're going to want to show off to those people. And that's when they start to spend in these digital economies. And that's actually what is needed, is that consumptive behavior where there are. So I really do think that these Web3 economies will be sustained by a new class of crypto rich that are looking to spend on things that are new, that are novel, that are interesting, and that they can actually use to kind of gain social status in these digital meeting places or town halls.
Interesting.
Great.
View.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about how Axie has been extending its brand? I understand that you recently launched Mavis Market, Ronin's first generalized NFT marketplace.
Yeah, definitely. So we're doing a lot of stuff right now. On the Axie side, right, everyone knows Axie as a simple card battler, and that is the product that kind of catapulted us to recognition. But we're also creating more Axie games. So there's Axie Infinity Homeland, which is kind of like a base building, village building, city building experience where you harvest resources, build structures, can even
I love those games. I love them.
yeah, so check that out. Axie Infinity Homeland. It's absolutely beautiful. It's gorgeous, and it's in alpha right now. So that's something that we're building. We're also have the community building other games within the Axie universe. There are games like Axie Doll, Across Lunacia, which are built by our community members. They're also helping to expand the Axie IP and the Axie experience. Some of these games have more users, and these community built games, some of them have more users than some of these really high market cap other Web3 games that kind of raised during the bull market and haven't really been able to actually get product traction. So that's on the Axie side of things, right? So a world of infinite experiences. Imagine it's 2060 and there are hundreds of Axie games, and some of them built by Sky Mavis, some of them built by the community. And right, your Axie is the access portal or the key to playing all of these games, right? An infinite content library with an NFT as the kind of subscription ticket, right? That's what I think. I would see that as real, true, interesting utility for NFTs. And then on the Ronin side of things, right? So Ronin is the infrastructure that we built with the learnings from Axie Infinity. It's battle tested, right? It's been proven to work with millions of users. We just onboarded validators like Google, Nansen, DappRadar, some of the top names in the space. Mm-hmm. And then, so just like Axie is going beyond the card battler, Ronin is also evolving beyond just being the home of Axie Infinity, right? Mm-hmm. So we just announced 5 games from outside of the Axie universe that are actually going to be building and kind of powered by Ronin. One of those games, Machines Arena, looks really great. You can check that out on social media. Battle Bears is also has product out in the market, and the response from the community has been quite great.
Great. That's awesome. It is the goal here to expand into sort of an Axie extended sort of cinematic universe. And if so, are we talking about more than games and platforms? Are there thoughts of taking IP and expanding it into other kinds of media as well?
Sure. I mean, well, gaming is one form of media. It may not even be the most dominant form of media, to be honest. So, and I think with Web3, you see, and NFTs, right? You see how we're starting to see the interconnectivity of, right, a brand, an IP, and games, merch, storytelling, comics, and these are all very linked together. And with Axie, we see Axie as the crown jewel in the kind of in the Ronin universe. But just like Mario would not have gotten as large without Donkey Kong, Zelda, Pokemon. Right. We also believe that Axie's full potential will be unlocked by bringing in complementary projects and IPs to the Ronin platform. Right? If Ronin becomes the best place to launch a Web3 game, which we believe it is, which the data suggests it is, then Ronin and Axie can definitely grow and spur each other forward. Sometimes Axie may carry the load, and sometimes Ronin may carry the load.
If we get into the technical aspects, what makes it the best network to develop these games?
Sure. Well, it's battle tested, right? It's built with 5 years of actually iterating on a Web3 game. Our thesis, and I think it makes sense, that the best Web3 gaming infrastructure will be built by the team that's actually built Web3 games and have actually successfully scaled them. And another thing is that we actually have a community. We have the most active wallets. We have the most active players, right? That's something that we hear from developers, is that, hey, like, we want to deploy with you guys because you guys actually have a community. And something that we can concretely offer is that, we'll give you a warm intro to the Ronin, to the Axie community, and you'll be able to get thousands of testers so that you can start improving your product in public.
Could you provide some insights on the recent FBI recoveries of funds?
Oh, sure. So, people are probably familiar that last year we became the first gaming network attacked by North Korea. There was a big breach, and it was really scary. It was a hard time for us to go through as a team. It was really hard for the community, but we were able to weather it. Right, everyone was paid back fully for the funds. So all users were made completely and entirely whole.
That's so important. That's so important.
But one thing that's been really exciting that's been happening is that actually, up to $30 to $40 million of those funds have been recovered by kind of different law enforcement agencies that we've been working with across the world. So we're really excited about that. It will take, some time, years for those funds to, find their way home to the network. But I also want to stress that, right, all users have been made whole. So this would all be kind of extra. And how did we make all users whole? Is, we had a funding round that and we also used our own balance sheet funds to make all users whole.
That's a great example. That's a great example of leadership.
Did you ever expect your project to become so successful that it attracts the attention of bad actors from other governments like that? That's quite a thing. It's quite a thing to deal with.
Well, to be honest, when I got into crypto in 2018, 2019, my mom, for some reason, was like, just be careful of North Korea. My mom is like kind of like a
Really?
She's Korean. So she was like, anyways, so that was kind of an interesting story. But I think in the early days, we believed that we had something special, that we had a special team, that we had a special community, and that, to be honest, we were quite confident.
Great. As we are reaching the end of the interview, having you as a big leader in the Web3 industry, I can't miss the opportunity to ask you, what do you vision for the future of the gaming and NFT industry?
Yeah, well, I think that we need to see inventions, new mechanics, that aren't possible in traditional gaming. And, so just like we created the ability to earn an ERC20 token with a non-fungible token, right? That was a major breakthrough that spurred a lot of innovation, kind of put the space on the map, right? Before the invention of play to earn back in 2020, there were only around 200 blockchain gamers, right? Now there are hundreds of thousands, and millions of people have played blockchain games. So I think the question to ask is, what is the major breakthrough in Web3 gaming that someone is working on right now, but that hasn't necessarily been seen at scale? I think one idea is the idea of a dynamic NFT, where you can, put your time, your effort, your skill into earning maybe crafting materials, experience points that are then used to actually dynamically upgrade or alter an NFT. Something more like a Tamagotchi, right? So imagine Axies. Axies have 6 different body parts. Imagine earning experience points and crafting materials by playing different Axie experiences, then using those to customize your Axie. And that would, right, if I spend a lot of time upgrading my Axie, I would feel even more emotionally committed and attached to it. That would make me never want to sell it, right? And that in turn would help create a more dynamic and sustainable consumptive economy. So that's one option. But yeah, it will only be clear in retrospect. And one thing that at Sky Mavis is, okay, right, even though we have hundreds of employees, we need to stay nimble and lean. We're a startup, right? So something that we conscientiously try to do is to make sure that we do have these kind of experimental side projects that are exploring ideas that may or may not work out, but that are kind of taking big swings at ideas that we think might move the space forward.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Jihoz. We've had a great time speaking with you this evening. We really appreciate you taking the time out to talk with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It was fun.
Thanks very much. We'll see you soon. Hey, how you doing? Hi, J-Rod, and we are back. So that was fun. I mean, my hair was a little bit more perfectly poofed about 9 hours ago, but that's okay.
It was a really interesting interview. Mm-hmm. I love the interview. I really enjoy speaking with Jihoz. He's amazing. I really enjoyed speaking with him, and I can't wait to start the next panel and to bring our guests. Should we proceed?
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you go ahead and just describe the panel a little bit, then we'll bring them on.
Of course. Our next panel will be focused on Axie Infinity community members. We will have big guests. First of all, I would like to introduce my dear friend, Osito Lima. He's a striving force in Latin America crypto community. He's also the founder of Peru Blockchain Conference, a really, really central conference in Peru, pushing forward all the technology, crypto, AI, and new developments in Latin America. So welcome, Osito. Let's add him to the stream. Welcome, Osito. How are you?
Hello, J-Rod. Justin, it's a wonderful pleasure to have this opportunity to talk about Axie Infinity, the development that we have had with Running Network, and to be able to also welcome our beloved community to this amazing space. Thank you so much, Benzinga, for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's great. You have a very active community there, and it's great to see. We had you on our Twitter Spaces as well. What have you noticed about the blockchain community that you're dealing with in that part of the world? I mean, it's nice for us to remember that not everything happens in Silicon Valley. After all, it seems like there's a passion and an energy about it, wouldn't you say?
Thanks to NFT gaming and specifically Axie, there has been a huge onboarding of Web2 users into Web3. And talking about like Axie Infinity and all the experience that we had in the company, we have seen that gaming actually is a beautiful gateway in order for us to welcome new technologies in Latin America. We sometimes see on the news that new technologies seem, like scary, or the mass media communications, they talk directly about some situations that involve new technologies, like with different types of news. But with gaming itself, it's such a beautiful and familiar concept that actually in Peru, Venezuela, Argentina, it has developed greatly. In that sense, when a person starts playing, like Axie Infinity and using Running Network and entering the ecosystem, they fully engage with the knowledge on how to create their own wallets, on how to, like perceive the notions of community and decentralization, transparency, like within the finance, like system that cryptos allow us to have. And such a beautiful, wonderful world of opportunities in order for us to develop new technology in Latin America.
Before presenting our next speaker, let me tell you, as humble as you see Osito, he has more than 15 million followers aggregating all his social media, so he's huge. He's huge, and it's a pleasure to have you always in our house at Benzinga. So Absolutely. Let's proceed. Presenting Rojan, one biggest Axie Infinity streamer in the world. It's also a pleasure to present you. Rojan, please join us.
Hello, guys. Hello, how are you? It's my pleasure to be here. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you,
Thanks.
Rojan.
And last but not least, we have Hantao. It's that the pronunciation right, Lima? Hantao, right?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Perfect. Quest co-founder. Quest is a business that provides and take care of the creator programs on Axie Infinity. So welcome, Hantao. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Thanks. So, where we would like to start, Justin? I would say maybe they can speak a bit about how they started their journey with Axie Infinity. Maybe it would be an interesting
Sounds
topic
great.
to start with.
Yeah, let's go ahead to Rojan. You know, where
Yeah.
did you begin being part of the? There you go. Arrange us. Put us at the bottom. These speakers are the important ones. You know, how did you begin your journey, Rojan, in terms of working with Axie, in terms of streaming Axie? How has this worked out for you? They were really at the beginning of sort of a trend in GameFi, and were you there for the beginning of that, or how did that work out?
No, I have been streaming for like 9 years now, since 2014. So in 2021, I was like streaming my old content, and I found out about Axie. Some friends talked to me about it. So yeah, I fell in love with Axie, mainly because I was so in love with the the genetic aspect of breeding Axies and all that. So yeah, I started streaming Axie at that moment. I didn't know that it was going to become my main content for the future. So right now my main content is about Axie and blockchain. I have been passionate about games my entire life, and now I have found out that I am passionate about blockchain too. So it actually is like the bridge for those two things. So yeah, that's where I started, and I'm here.
Fantastic. How about you, Hantao? How did you get involved with the community?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I had a friend called Kevin, and he had a guild back then, which is like a Web3 esports team, basically. And he told me like, "Hey, you got to get in Axie Infinity. This is this new game, and it's blowing up right now. It's very similar to what we faced in 2010 for League of Legends." So when I started talking with all the different guild leaders and all the different people in the community, I started participating more and also started my own company within Axie Infinity called Quest.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that. What are you doing with Quest?
Yeah, so with Quest, we're building user engagement and loyalty. We also have data that works under it, and then we utilize that to operate the Axie Infinity Creator Program and help Sky Mavis with a lot of different other things as well. Like we helped Sky Mavis with the Axie iOS on the Apple App Store. That released in a few countries. We helped them with research in different departments and design as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, perfect. And how about you, Lima? We already talked a little bit about your background, but how did we get involved specifically with Axie?
In the same way that Hantao, also Rojan, like approached Axie as part of the community, I also engaged with Axie Infinity by creating with a business partner that have a gaming guild focused on providing important opportunities toward people who were in financial need. In that sense, I could witness the power of the community from a different side. And I saw a community full of love, like zero racism, no discrimination, no homophobia. And everything was evergreen regarding sharing of knowledge and helping each other. And that's something that I truly appreciate and like regarding the metaverse. For example, Rohan, who started as a community member, he's one of the biggest streamers in the world right now on Web3 and the biggest on Axie Infinity. He actually dedicates a lot of his time to teach other community members on how to engage with these new technologies with care, with security, and with knowledge that he would have loved to know when he started in these new worlds. And in that same sense, Hantao is a passionate professional who takes care of the content creators who are constantly providing a lot of value to our community members. In that sense, I think it's wonderful that they are representing the community in that sense.
And what kind of opportunities has the Axie community brought to creators like Hantao, like Rohan, and as working as the Latin American lead for Axie, and what do you find? What kind of opportunities does it create for players, for streamers, competitive players?
Oh, of course. I'm gonna begin, and then Hantao is gonna develop it further because he's the expert in this matter.
Right.
But for example, for content creation itself, we have developed at Axie Infinity a lot of education. We did a partnership with NAS Academy, which is one of the biggest content creation academies in the world. And in this fellowship, we started providing absolutely free education to our content creators in so many different subjects, from how to record a video, how to fully engage with the community, um, with the help of a very professional team. In that sense, we also have different funds which are utilized for the projects. We're constantly amplifying their social media platforms in order for their careers to grow. And Hantao is going to give us a little bit more of detail regarding that.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for creators is always growth and growing the community. Axie currently owns about 40% of the total views on YouTube for Web3 gaming. And on Twitch, we own about 30% of the total watch time every week. So within Axie, like creators are able to have a community and have people that engage with them and watch them. And we also provide a lot of different amplification through the Axie Infinity pages, Skymavis pages. And then I would say lastly, we try to provide resources for different types of activations. So whenever there's new product releases for Axie or the Ronin network, we try to provide creators with resources to partner up and do different types of fun activities and campaigns.
Nice. If
Perfect.
you having three historic members of Axie and leaders in the space, if you have to see like backwards all the journey of Axie and yourselves, how it mixed, which are the big milestones that you can mark on a timeline of all this journey that represents Axie Infinity and the big impact in the community that it has?
That's a good question. I think Lima would be great to help answer that.
Of course. Well, from my specific point of view as the Latin American lead, I believe that when we started making the translations officially for Axie Infinity into Spanish, it's a key and milestone moment in which Web3 started to be more universal, like for all the Latin American and Spanish speaking countries. Um, so we actually developed, like a system in which Origins, which is the main game right now, has an Spanish version. And this allowed for our Spanish speaking communities to fully engage with the game in a deeper way. I believe that also a key moment was when we developed our social media platforms also in Spanish, especially our Twitter, where we launch all official communications, which is called Axie Infinity ES for Spanish. Another milestone would be AxieCon, which was the event that was organized for the community. In this sense, when Axie Infinity community members they gather, and they meet their friends, they become family, and it's truly awesome because they share so many values. They not only share the technology, but they also share, like the dream of having a beautiful internet in the future, which you can actually own, because actually Axie Infinity holds that objective so that people can actually be the owners of their own future, of their own digital assets, of their own decisions. And that freedom is something that in the community and in the team we all will always cherish so much and try to protect a lot. Also, when Quest started the creator program by running it, it was a milestone moment because it was something that was already happening organically, but thanks to them, it was beautifully organized. And in this way, we have a lot of data right now on how to develop further and with more, like effectiveness regarding how we can support our creators better. I think Rojan can tell us a little bit more from his perception from the community, especially from Argentina, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of milestones, I think that there is a few that I can think of. I mean, for example, when Axie moved mainly from Classic to Origins, um, with when Axie are running other things like Katana, for example, the decentralized exchange. AxieCon, I think this is the most precious moment that I can record of Axie. So yeah, I think that it depends on who you are talking to, but I think that there is a few milestones that you can like look back and remember and be like, oh, things were quite different at that time. So yeah.
Following up with you, like you are that are the streamer here, and you are in touch constantly with the audience, receiving feedback on the chat. Can you talk us about a bit about the community, the audience of the streams? How do you, a bit? How can you describe them?
Yeah. Yeah, so lately, I mean, I think that a lot of people is like coming back on and check on Axie. I receive people every day like, oh, what's up with Axie? And they are like looking and of all the development that has been made in the last year or so, and they are like surprised of, wow, I mean, like Origins has grown so much, you know. So yeah, I think that we all know that sometimes crypto and blockchain can be a little bit overwhelming. So for me, it's like Axie is the perfect opportunity to learn about all these things and like explain to people. So a lot of people also come to my content to learn not only about Axie, but what like interacts with Axie, like blockchain running, maybe some exchange, you know. So I think that Axie provides the perfect excuse for people to learn about it. So yeah, I think that lately the community has been quite excited about the last updates on Origins and the lately development of Axie, like Axie Core, um, the level 2 part upgrades, and a lot of things that are coming out for the Axie ecosystem. So yeah, people is
Yeah,
I think that it's quite excited right now.
so your role is super important. You have a really big responsibility. You are at the
Yeah,
frontier of crypto adoption. You are
yeah,
like a bridge builder. That's amazing. So
yeah. I
you're
feel like
receiving
it.
people funneling from Twitch, funneling into crypto, into education, into financial expertise. It's like a door that you open to a whole new world. So you're at the
Yeah,
frontier of crypto adoption. Actually, that's impressive.
yeah. Also, I have a lot of like old audience from like all this game. I have played like League
Of
and
course.
CS and all these games. So like every single day, all audience of me like come back and say, hey, what's up about Axie? I had seen that you have been streaming like for 2 years now. So what how does it works? So yeah, like every day is
Great.
like helping new people. So yeah, it's
So
it's
important.
amazing. I
That's
actually like it.
yes. Please
Mhm.
proceed.
No,
You
no,
actually
I
like
was
it.
saying that I actually like enjoy helping people, because when I started, I actually didn't know anything, so I made a lot of mistakes. Mainly, a lot of people like have like security problems and all that. So I think that it's one of the main themes, of like where I try to be more
Yeah.
yeah,
Focus
informative,
on
like
security.
take care of this, because yeah, it's important.
Great. Great.
Mhm.
So
Well,
moving on to Hantao. Um, would you like to explain us more a bit how the Quest content creator program works with Axie, how it helps promote and support the content creators?
Yeah, for sure. So For the creator program, right now we have about 2,500 different variety of creators. So there's like artists, people who post threads on Twitter, streamers, YouTubers, cosplayers, etc. So for us, we try to provide three main buckets. The first one is recognition. So recognizing the efforts that creators are making through Creators of the Month, amplifying them and giving them shout outs on social media. The second one is just with growth. So whenever they're posting new content, we're helping share the content, getting the community to support it. And then the last one is monetary. So whenever they have different types of needs or want to do cool things, we try to empower them the best we can through that.
Great, thanks.
Perfect.
Justin would like to make the next question.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, guys, in terms of hyping up this community, you all engage with the community in different ways. What do you find from your specific point of view is the best way to effectively engage in this community? And is the Web3 gaming community any different to deal with than a regular gaming community, or is it all kind of flattening out into the same thing at this point?
Well, I'm gonna give a little bit of my perspective regarding that. In the Axie Infinity community, like the gentleman said, we indeed have a very interesting mix, like of audiences and community members who are engaged with technology, like which is blockchain, and they are mesmerized by how Running Network is fully developing. In the same sense, we also have community members who actually love the community by itself, and they enjoy being part of the family. They enjoy being part of a team of people fully developing into the future, like together and learning together and helping each other. And we also have the gaming part. So actually, like there are plenty of different ways to connect with the community, but in perspective, for Axie Infinity is very important for the regional leads and the key, like community members and representatives of different regions, for us to stay connected through syncs, through communications over Discord, on Twitter. We are fully responsive when it comes to questions. Like we have a very important support ticket in which we answer also all types of inquiries. And what I loved about Axie Infinity when I was starting was that actually you could see the co-founders being part of the meetups in the same way that you could see new members coming there. Like, so there is no immediate distinction as Web2, like companies sometimes do. Where like the CEOs, they are not part of the community and they don't fully engage with them. In this sense, Jihoz, who is the co-founder, and Psychout, like and everybody who is part of the board, they are constantly on the meetups, and they are like sometimes having like a soda with you. They are having pizza with the community. They are talking about the future. You can actually ask them anything. They are fully like arms wide open to making interviews, to be part like of the community and engage with them further, to answer questions which normally other video games they don't answer, like, and to also fully engage with what the community wants for the video game, and we fully base on that. So much that we have developed the Axie Builder programs, which is a program in which we are co-creating games with the community based exactly on what the community wants. In that sense, Axie is one of the most successful games, as well as across Lunasia and other games which are being developed by the very own community that believed in us, and now we are creating these beautiful partnerships. And they are entering the ecosystem in such a way that it's being also supported by the community and amplified. In that way, that is, like making history on Web3, and we're looking forward to develop more projects in which we can support our community's dreams.
I have to say, I testified the power of Axie community in real life. I attended a live event, and there was a kid, a really nice kid, or young adult named Duras, great guy, and he shared his story. He shared his from a really small town, and he had no friends, and he was really sad. He was kind of depressed because of he had difficulties making new friends. And when he dived into the Axie community, he was, as Osito said, he was received wide open with wide arms, and he felt the warmth of the community, and his life changed completely. I saw him making like a small speech at the event, like just spontaneous, right? And it was amazing, and it made me cry almost. It was all the warmth of the community. I saw it in real life. So this is what Osito is telling. It's true, Justin. It's how it is.
That's fantastic. You know, and honestly, if only there was that kind of support and enthusiasm from all parts of the Web3 community, imagine what we could do. Imagine what we could do if exchanges supported each other the same way. You know, because I know that when we speak to the hip hop community, it's kind of a similar thing, right? There's more people trying to elevate each other, and the community that's supportive. I wish that all parts of the community, even financial services, had that kind of thing going on in Web3.
Exactly, and I think it also starts like from management. The example that Jihoz gives when he, for example, when he, I'm not sure if you checked it on the keynote slot, but when he refounded all of the stolen funds from their own personal money, that kind of leadership where you take first care of the community and then you take care of yourself, I think that gives a great example to the entire community and to other crypto leaders, and speaks volumes of the quality of persons that are involved in Axie.
Mm-hmm. Right, I totally agree. All right, so do we have a question to wrap us up, J Rod? Because we got to move on to the next panel in the next 3
Yeah, I would
minutes.
like to know if any of you guys want to say some final remarks, maybe share some of your own personal victories with Axie. Where are you going? Where are you headed? Anything. Just take your time to say some final remarks.
Yeah, I think that one thing that I love about Axie is that community is part of the process, because a lot of the last changes, like on the evolution of origins, for example, has been made with the help of the community. So I think that, for example, I have been playing games my whole life, and I have never been able to help or contribute, making a game better. So with Axie, is like everything that my community like has this idea. So I present a proposal and I put it on Twitter, and then some of the founders like read it and like reply to it. Sometimes a lot of those changes or proposal has been made. So I think that we as a community feel part of Axie because of that, because they include us. So yeah, I think that that is why a lot of people like me feel so like emotionally attached to Axie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Definitely. What about you, Hantao? You have anything to add?
Yeah. So the like Rohan said, the Axie Infinity community is very amazing. Especially the Latin American community and the Spanish community, Brazilian community as well. Like they're some of the most passionate individuals that I've met, and they really love what they're doing and really love helping out where they can. So
Well, so
Fantastic. Lima, do
muchas
you have any
gracias a todos
you have any
también,
last
¿no?
words for us? You're set. You've got so much charisma and so much love for what you do, Lima. Is there anything that you would like to add? You can wrap up this whole thing for us and
Yeah.
help
Yeah,
explain how the Latin American explosion in blockchain will take over the world. I want to hear about it because
You can do it in
boring.
Spanglish. You can do it in
of
Spanglish.
course, of course, of course. Familia, que gusto, no? Some final words is like, I wanted to also take this opportunity to publicly, give my gratitude and respect towards Hantao and Rojan within the community, because whenever I talk to community members, They both have made such a huge impact, and I wanted, like to coordinate this call with Benzinga, because Benzinga is such an amazing ally. Thanks to J Rod, my friend, my dear friend and ally, one of my best friends, and you too, Justin. And I believe that what is being built in Axie is not only a game. It's not only, like a community. It's not only, like a family. It's more than that. It's a movement. It's something that will last for so long, for so much time. It's something bigger than technology itself, and that's beautiful because Axie is not stopping anytime soon. They are constantly developing. Like the team is working as hard as possible. We are in a bear market, and on a bear market, we have the joy, like the gratitude to our community to have the events full house, like to have, like the gaming developing as hard as it possibly can. And in these moments, we actually see, like the true passion of the community. Like Rojan is continuously creating videos, teaching Web2, like Hantao is constantly, every day, having meetings with creators, developing their dreams. That level of passion, that level of joy towards work, it's something that truly mesmerizes me. I get extremely inspired. I see all the beautiful journey coming ahead, and it's a wonderful pleasure to be building the future together with my friends, and now with Benzinga itself. So thank you so much, my friends. I hope to see you on November in New York City, where it's gonna be, like a big event for Benzinga. And thank you for the opportunity to talk about our story, our passion. Axie never stops, and it's a true honor to be building together, my friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And it's been a great time. It's been great having you here, Lima, Rojan, Hantao. Honestly, we'd love to have you all on again. We do spaces twice a week. We do this show at least once a month. I think that's actually going to pick up a little bit more. But it's been super awesome. Would really love to dive in even deeper in GameFi, and particularly in GameFi in Latin America. I think that, blockchain, my friends, to all the listeners out there, is a global phenomenon. And if we want to, find prosperous good times in the future with the largest audiences that we possibly can, we need to include all of our audiences. We need everybody's ideas and everybody's hype to kind of go in the machine and create that enthusiasm, create that center of belief that makes things move forward. In the meantime, guys, you've been fantastic. We're going to go ahead and get started with our second panel, but thank you all for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. So I think that we lost J-Rod for a second here as well. Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon. Much.
Take care.
Take care. All right. So it's just me for a second because I think J-Rod has had some connectivity. And here he is again, like a blast from the past. Back. It's J-Rod. He's back. No worries, man. I was ready to just keep talking until you came back on.
I know. I trust you. My internet connection today, you know how things are, but well, show must go on.
Yep.
Let's proceed with the second panel. Tell us a bit about our second panel.
We've got a great panel coming up, and these are a lot of games that we've spoken to before. Some of them appeared in December last year at Benzinga's first Future of Crypto event. We've got Dakakao from Alien Worlds. We've got Splinterlands coming up as well, Avagachi, and Upland, which is a great GameFi metaverse project. And I'm dying to hear from all of them. So let's go ahead and get this underway. Let's start with Danny from Upland. Hey, Danny, how are you today? I think you might be muted. I'm sorry.
Hi.
You
doing Hi. Well. How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us today. Do you want to just quickly introduce yourself and your project?
Of course. Hi, Danny Brown-Wolf. I'm Chief of Staff at Upland, also doing strategic projects and partnerships. Upland is a Web3 metaverse, probably the largest Web3 metaverse according to unique landowners or unique active wallets. We have over 300,000 unique landowners, and there are a few reasons why Upland is so popular. First, we're mobile first. as opposed to a lot of other Web3 projects. We've really insisted on being mobile first, and 80% of our users use mobile. It's mapped to the real world, so it gives both users and brands that have been coming in a lot of context. So if you, as a person, the first property you look for is usually somewhere you visited before, somewhere you know, or your actual home address. Similarly for brands, it makes sense for them, for a gaming brand to try to be in the Vegas Strip, or for a fashion brand to try to be somewhere cool in LA or in the Golden Triangle or Fifth Avenue. So Upland does not have an externally traded token. We're a US-based, Silicon Valley-based company that is completely regulatory compliant with the US interesting regulatory regime. We've done our best. Everything in Upland, however, is an NFT. So we've sold over 5 million unique NFTs in Upland. A lot of them with partners such as the NFLPA, with FIFA. We were the official partner for FIFA in the Men's World Cup, and heading out to the Women's World Cup now in July in New Zealand and Australia, which is very exciting. So it's just we are now moving into the next evolution of how we see Upland growing from a metaverse Web3 game into a platform that is taking shape of a super app, because the way we built our open architecture allows for other developers, world builders, meta space creators to connect to Upland without having to build something unique for our platform.
Right. Well, that is fantastic. Thank you so much. I think it's a great project. I believe I've written about it before. I had you on my spaces, been following you for a little while. Good to see you, Danny. I'm going to go ahead and bring Kevin Rose on now. Just giving Kevin a second of warning before I do, because I didn't with you, Danny. Sorry about that. Here, let's go ahead and bring Kevin on. Hey, Kevin, how are you today?
Hey, Justin, thanks for having me.
So you have been sitting on a game that's been ranking as one of the top in terms of players in the Web3 space, Alien World, for some time now. Why don't you just go ahead and give us just a couple of sentence overview of Alien Worlds and where you guys are at right now?
Sure. Hey, everyone. I'm Kevin Rose. I'm Chief Marketing Officer of Decoko. We're the primary contributor to Alien Worlds, and Alien Worlds is a decentralized metaverse that's an immersive sci-fi setting with a collection of games and activities. And we take decentralization pretty seriously. And the role we see for ourselves at Decoko is we're building these blockchain primitives similar to DeFi, and how you're able to take different tools, different things, different applications, compose them together to create games, to create applications, to create end user experiences, all set within this immersive sci-fi world. So we look at the metaverse, kind of the borders of it, to begin and end where the IP begins and ends. Anything set within Alien Worlds and anything that uses the NFTs or fungible tokens is part of the Alien Worlds metaverse. And we're really happy with to be a part of the community that has formed around it. We have a lot of people building different games and applications, and it's growing every day. So very happy to be here. And thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Yeah. It's an innovative game. I like that, much like Danny was talking about with Upland, in a way, by integrating the metaphor of NFTs within the universe building, you create kind of the sense of a larger thing. I'm a big game guy. I feel like I say this like twice every show, but I'm on a game dev team.
You do, Justin. You do.
Well,
I've been a gamer for
What's that?
I've been a gamer for 30 years, and I love RPGs. I love sci-fi. I love world building. And it's funny when I hear people say Alien Worlds is a game. It's not really a game. When I say metaverse, it is a universe, a metaverse of activities and games that are connected by blockchain technology. So other people outside of Decoko can build games that can stand up to everything else built in the metaverse in terms of quality production, fun, and gameplay, and then use the same tools as everybody else, and we create this composable ecosystem. So it's bigger than just a game.
And you've just taught me how to say Decoko, because I've always been saying Dakoko, which is a lot harder to say, but it's a lot more like Saul Goodman's Coco Bolo Desk. If anybody watches Better Call Saul, no, not probably.
I'm a couple seasons behind.
It's a great show. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and add Jesse to the scene as well. Jesse,
Welcome, Jesse.
and
Hey
introduce.
guys, hello. Jesse
Hey.
here from Avagachi. Nice to see you again, Justin. It's been a while.
Good to see you.
So yeah, Avagachi, we're just in the mix here with everybody on this panel, working on primitives. These kind of interoperable game avatars. Those are the Avagachis. They're like these cute little ghosts that
Right.
are trapped. We don't say they live on the blockchain. They're actually trapped on the blockchain because their backstory is they represent liquidated gamers and liquidated DeFi degens like ourselves. And so these are the actual spirits of what lives beyond the liquidation. And
not dead ICOs. That would have been pretty funny.
That would have been. I mean, some of the. I guess if you were leveraged on an ICO, you might be in the mix here. So yeah, there's this DeFi aspect to Avagachis that's in our kind of root DNA. We've been around 3 years now. We're born out of DeFi Summer with Aave and got early support from Stanny and everybody there to create these literally NFT piggy banks. That's their first and foremost, most innovative feature. They're the first NFT where it could hold ERC20 cryptocurrencies as a collateral. And that's actually how you bring them to life. So you got to give them their, what we call spirit force and bring them back. And so since then, we've been expanding on that. Like building a better crypto pet was step one. And then making them interoperable avatars that could go in other games and be supported by our DAO was kind of step two. And pleased to say we're in a very good place right now. Despite the bear market, we actually, I think, did a lot of things right. Credit to the community. And the DAO recently helped us achieve one of the biggest DAO fundraisers of the year, something not easy to do this year. Over $30 million worth of DAI stablecoins hit Treasury about 3 months ago. So we're funded to kind of go from where we are now to something with its own blockchain. We're very close with Polygon. We are the first major NFT to launch with them. And now we're going to be one of the first to use their SuperNets technology, which isn't even really like a big conversation piece in the space right now. But this idea of game chains and app chains is really going to be, I think, the next big thing. And we're going to be right at the center of it and really excited about what that means for play and earn, play to earn, everything like that. And the next generation of gaming.
For those who are old enough to remember Tamagotchi and the little pocket pets that if you ignore they die in your pocket, which like I couldn't take the kind of stress personally, but I'm a big fan of gaming from that era because I'm old. But I think there are some really cool mechanics there in terms of being able to upgrade your NFTs by including wearables and so forth. It kind of makes it like, in some ways, a battle game and a card game, but also like, you're able to build up in sort of a universe building kind of way. When I spoke to Coder Dan, he had he was telling me how the hotness in Avagachi world was to have very rare eyes, for example, like because you're stuck with your eyes that you start out with, but you can put on sort of glasses which change your eyes, that sort of thing. It was actually something that then when we did that keynote interview with Axie Infinity, the co-founder mentioned this kind of mechanic as being something very future oriented. So I think it's very forward looking. I like the game a lot. Like to see where it's going. But let's go ahead and bring Egret on. He's been very patient up to this point. Hey, how are you, sir? Here from Splinterlands, another great game. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your project?
Sure. I'm Maggie. I'm the CEO and founder of Splinterlands. It's a pleasure to be here. We are a trading card game that's built on the blockchain, and to date we've had over 3 billion battles. We've done 2 billion transactions on chain, and we have more than 1 billion card rentals that have taken place. So we've been around since 2018, and we're trying to branch out and get even more games and more tools and more things for the people to use. So one of the big next pieces for us, we have an entire ecosystem around Splinterlands, and within that, we're rolling out both a tower defense game called Soul Keep, and we also have kind of a land and empire building game that we call the Secrets of Praetoria. So we have kind of not just the one main fighting game, but then there are a couple other pieces that are coming with that. We have a sports ecosystem, which is called Genesis League Sports. Our first game that's on there is due to come out next month. And that's called Goals, and it's in partnership with MLSPA, the Major League Soccer Players Association. So we're excited to get that going. And then either in July, maybe August, we're going to be rolling out kind of a third ecosystem, which is going to be called Arcade Colony, where people can build all kinds of games on there and take advantage of this highly scalable, highly, like a lot of these games that are being built out in this world are trying to be Web3 games by only incorporating, NFTs, which to me is like a very minimal way to incorporate crypto and blockchain into what they're doing. And so in our ecosystem, we're dialing up entire side chains. There's governance tokens, there's DAOs. The players really get to vote to decide how they want the future of their game and their experience to look like. And in the process of doing all this, we figured out that we can take a Unity-based game and help convert a Web2 game into Web3. So our ultimate objective will be to be looking at all the games that have large market share in Web2 and bringing them chunk by chunk into Web3. So pretty excited to see what we can do there, and not just improve Splinterlands and bring more gameplay like tower defense and this Empire Builder, but really bring in the next horde of users. Like, our target is like the games that have somewhere between 10 and 100 million downloads. So every time that you get one of the
I think you had a small frozen ecosystem. Good. There we go.
There we go.
You just froze up for a second. Sorry about that. You want to re-say that last line?
Yeah, just my hope is that we were able to go take games that are in Web 2 that have between 10 and 100 million downloads, bring them into Web 3, and hopefully we're expanding this entire ecosystem for all of these games and all these communities, 1 million players at a time for the ones that actually convert from Web 2 to Web 3.
I have to say, I love the creativity and the freshness that Web3 brings to the gaming industry as a whole. All the stories, the depth of each character, the emotionally attachment that you get with each of your NFTs. It brings like a new fresh air to the gaming industry. Now that we're in times when all games are just revamps of old games, like new stories and more technological benefits to enhance the gaming experience. So I definitely love it. And that takes us to our first question. It's an open question. Any of you guys can take it. But I would like to ask, how do you feel about the word GameFi? Do you think it's okay? Would you like? Do you prefer calling it Web3 gaming, blockchain gaming, or just gaming? And the fact that it runs on blockchain is just a technical aspect.
Yeah, maybe I'll start with that one. The blockchain industry has a tendency when they come up with a use case, they really just grab it by the collar and shake it really hard right off the bat. The promises that were made sort of in the beginning of Web3 gaming and GameFi put us on the wrong foot when we're trying to win hearts and minds of traditional gamers and traditional game developers. Things like the interoperability of items across games, obviously that's something that has to come from developers agreeing that can happen. A lot of these promises were made in the beginning, and that sort of bungled our first impression. GameFi, I think, is the wrong impression. I think what it does is it mixes up the motivations of why people game. You have these intrinsic motivations and extrinsic motivations. Intrinsic would be, it's fun. I play because it's fun. And extrinsic would be, I play because I can earn. And so it's balancing these two things that I think is the challenge ahead of us, that blockchain, really that opportunity is provided to us. And GameFi makes that imbalanced right off the bat. That intrinsic motivation, that fun gameplay first, that is going to be the thing that is sustainable. And the GameFi aspect, I think, is a feature, but it's part of a cast of characters and not necessarily the star of the show. So I prefer to say Web3 gaming.
Yeah, Web3 gaming is pretty good. I also like play to own. Play to earn is like, it was a good starting point, but it gives too much emphasis on come and extract value out of the ecosystem as opposed to come and build it with your fellows. So Web3 gaming is good. I don't have anything against, GameFi, but I'm personally leaning towards play to own, and because it gives that impression that over time you get to go build your assets, build your stake, and if the community or your project supports it, it lets you sort of talk to governance and talk to how you get to interact with your project because of that ownership.
That makes sense, and certainly play to earn. That's the other one. How, Jesse, what do you think about GameFi? I wonder because does it really say anything to people? Of course, I'm old enough to remember when Wi-Fi first became a term, for that matter. But GameFi, and what about play to earn? Does it have its own problematic connotations?
There's a lot of popular things that end in the word "fi" or the sound "fi," so it's got that going for it. But in terms of GameFi, I kind of think where Kevin was going with that makes a lot of sense. It's a feature. It's a subgenre of the larger umbrella of Web3 games. So with Aavegotchi, we definitely have GameFi. It's I think more accurately used when it's specifically about not just play and earn, but like actually incorporating DeFi elements. If you're using Aave in the protocol and tapping into these open source protocols and gamifying them in some way, maybe GameFi is the right term. But for a lot of Web3 games, and I think that is the better broad term, GameFi wouldn't apply accurately. And I like play to own. That totally makes sense because it emphasizes finance a little less, right? It could be land, it could be an avatar, a game item. You own all of these things on chain, but they're not necessarily a cryptocurrency. But when I hear play to earn, it sounds like I'm earning a cryptocurrency. That's generally what I associate it with. And so with Aavegotchi, we're moving towards a big rebrand because we are moving from pixel art to 3D. And with this, we kind of had to refocus on what terminology are we going to go with, because it's very important. And I think game and earn is kind of where our heads are at. So it's it's play to earn. You've heard it before, but it's more, this balance of gaming first, and you're going to earn, you're going to own, you're going to do other things through that process. But real quick on what Splinterlands and Agran you were saying, I think it's like the ownership is sometimes assumed to be just like, oh, you own this avatar and you can take it from game to game, which is cool. But I think there's you were kind of getting at something I've thought about, which is ownership is more than just your personal ownership. If you own something, there's other ways to show that than just having an avatar. And that's where you get into governance and DAOs. That's another side of ownership, is like having that impact. And so, play to own, game and earn, those are my two favorites right now. And GameFi has its place, but it's a niche within a niche.
And that's why, having done 1 billion rentals is a big deal for us, because we want people to be able to go take what they own and do, digital asset leasing with it. I've rented houses. Renting houses is a giant pain in the butt, all the work you have to do with the government to go clear whatever parts you want to do, change it, dealing with tenants, getting payments, all of that is tricky. It is so much easier to just click a button, put your digital asset up for rent, and have that order filled. And when they stop paying or stop wanting it, the contract ends, and there's no discussion. There's no fight or argument. It's just that. So that the aspect of owning, it's the pure ownership. That's just the very first and bottom rung. I mean, that's what I think we've seen in this industry is a lot of bottom rung experimenting of oh, I can own a thing. Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. But what else can you do beyond just basically owning it? Can you rent it? Can you delegate it? Does it give you permission to do something that somebody else can't do? Does it give you a say in a collective voting process? What kinds of things and utility can build around it? And that's why I focus on that ownership piece, because I think that's really the heart of what we're doing. It starts with just basic ownership, but then it comes with what's all this utility that you can only do because you are the sole owner of this.
Right.
And that's what I think will drive this industry.
Right. And nobody's... Go ahead. Sorry, Jose.
Yeah, sure. As Web3 developers, we have to remember that there's a lot more friction in using blockchain technology. So it can't just be, oh, we're just building games, but they're on blockchain. The inherent friction means that there has to be an added value. That value is true ownership. Now, what you do with it, I think GameFi as a term is just very Web3. And when we try to bring in normies into this world, and we try to reduce the friction as much as possible using very native crypto phrases, is very just not attractive. So it's more about branding, but in its essence, when you talk about design and architecture, the added value of blockchain technology with true ownership is the financial aspect, is the true ownership, the future interoperability of assets, the ability to also move around your identity, not just your assets. And that's a part of it. And the game design is around that ownership and how you add value, and the ability to add value as co-creators and co-participants in the development of both the platforms, the games, and the experience, as opposed to just being the user. And that's the real difference that drives out of the true ownership.
So, well, staying with you, Danny, though, for our next question, I'm wondering, what can we offer people, normies or people from outside the Web3 space? Obviously, some of these play to earn mechanics aren't going to mean as much to them. Play to earn in 2020, people were talking about it like it was a second income opportunity there. At least that was the hype. And now, is it more of a customer retention program? And how do you go about incentivizing people outside the space?
Yeah, so Upland is very unique. As I said, we don't have an externally traded token. So we've built a very strong economy, but that is a little sheltered from the rest of the world. So, in the crypto downturn, we weren't affected as much. Our assets maintained their value because of the closed economy and the internal demand. And that really spoke to a lot of Web2 users. We, of course, the abstraction of the wallet and not having to deal with seed phrases, etc. Something that a lot of games are now developing, or big platforms are now developing, but we've developed 3 years ago. So it's non-custodial. We can't touch their assets, but the sign-in is in a way that's abstracted. That's why we have over 60% of Upland users. Upland was the first time they've owned an NFT. So it was a real introduction for them to true ownership through the gameplay, through the economy. And we develop a lot of features that organically help them build their communities and build the value for their properties. So, we don't like play to earn as a term, because we look at Upland as an economy that in the long term, it's the future of what Horizon was supposed to be, or what Facebook was for a lot of people. This is where you interact with your communities. This is where brands interacts with their users. This is where you can buy and sell things. It's just in a more immersive environment with true ownership of digital assets, and it's all gamified as opposed to a game. So I think Upland is a little unique in that sense, because the gaming aspect we leave to other developers through the open architecture. So if we create an economy around, let's say, one class of course, we have properties in Upland, but we also have a class of NFTs that are cars. Then cars have utility within Upland, both in racing and in actual transportation as a mechanism in Upland. But now, a Web2 or a Web3 developer can come in, connect to Upland, create a racing game that users can use their NFTs through our APIs, use their NFTs to actually race, and all of a sudden we have this gamification of their assets, but we didn't build it. We work with other developers to build it. So there's a lot of our users, and I love using their words to describe what we're doing, because we have a certain vision. All of a sudden, the users talk about it in a different way. They look at it as the future of what Facebook was, plus Roblox for adults can evolve to be, and that is the vision of what we're building as a platform.
Great.
Right.
So moving on to our other guests, which strategies are your own projects developing to attract outsiders, or let's say people from gamers from outside the crypto community, and what we can offer as a whole.
Justin, I kind of both of you, J-Rod, Justin, you said similar things, and I just want to focus on the word you used. How do we incentivize people outside to come in? And I think there are some issues with that statement. I don't think that Web3 technology has given us license to reimagine why people play games. I think the motivation is the same. It's always been the same. It always will be the same. It's to have fun. It's to meet and play with friends. And the way that we incentivize, so to speak, is to show them that this is the same fun experience that they've had, but they've only been given a fraction of the potential of experience in past gaming experiences, because the developer has been centralized, the ownership has been cemented, the ivory tower has fed you the way the game is going to be built, run, owned, played, in every aspect of it. You own nothing and you'll like it. And so what we're showing them is that we can have that same fun. We can play with our friends, and we can have a community, but we can do it slightly differently. And you can reap a ton of the benefit. It's fundamentally disintermediating. So I think the way that we're incentivizing people is to show them that we're not changing the motivation of why we play games. These are just as fun, but you've kind of been lied to for a while. We have the technology to allow you to own what you earn. And there's this concept that I like to think about called gamer equity. And if you imagine like an RPG, you've got different tracks. Some people like to be a rogue. Some people like to be a barbarian, bust through doors versus go in quietly.
Sure.
And these skill trees take a lot of time. And the way that games are going is that they're massive. They're games as a service. You pay a subscription fee, you pay microtransactions, you put in time, you put in money, right? And what this technology can afford you is to access the equity you've created. You can go back and say, I'd like to play this game differently. I want to be a barbarian rather than my rogue. So I'm going to take the things that I've earned, that I own as my rogue progression tree has afforded me, and I'm going to trade those with other players, so that I can advance down the barbarian path faster, and I can enjoy it the way that I want to enjoy it. I think this is like what we're trying to tell people with all the ways that we are experimenting with this technology now, is that you were the owner all along, and it was a secret from you. And now we have let you in on the secret.
Interesting. What do you think, Jesse? I mean, I've heard this for the past couple of years, that we're allowing true ownership of assets. I still wonder how that really plays out when, especially those who like, I love the 2 years ago, you buy a pair of an NFT of some high tops and they say it's platform agnostic. Well, yeah, it technically is. All I have to do is 3D render it and then import it into, Sim's own markup language, and then I can play it in Sims 4, for example. So it's kind of there's owning on the platform, there's owning cross-platform. What is a value statement that will resonate with people inside and outside the space that stays simple and is a fulfillable promise?
Yeah. It's the ultimate question here, right? And I think that part of the answer is, what Kevin was saying there. That's like half the equation. Is it's got to be fun. That's like the bare minimum. It has to be something that's equal to what's already on the market. The part I push back on, or say there is a bit more too, is it's not just that we're unlocking ownership, because that only matters if there's all this utility baked in, like we just said. So the other half is actually unlocking new gaming experiences that simply weren't possible without blockchain, without that ownership. So what kind of gaming can you offer me that I couldn't have those experiences before, like totally new experiences? That's where it gets really interesting to me. And so with Aavegotchi, we've been looking at things where we even realized early on that part of the gaming starts at the governance level with the DAO. That's why we have one of the most active DAOs in the world, because we figured out early on we're going to prioritize gamifying that part of it. And the Aavegotchi avatar earns experience points for your votes and what you're doing with your wallet. And so those kind of little things actually turn into a game in and of themselves, where people are enjoying themselves. Oftentimes these are, in our case, adults that are, kind of having a nostalgic throwback to pixel games. but they're having an impact on a multi-million-dollar project and steering that direction. And their Aavegotchi's leveling up for doing it. And so just that aligning of incentives matters. But yeah, we got to do more than just make fun games, because there's a lot of fun games out there that don't get traction. And they're great, well-built games, quote unquote, but they don't go anywhere. So we have to do that as a bare minimum, but then we have to offer new experiences. And with us, we've always run towards crypto. We're not the type that try to abstract it away and make it disappear. So we're saying, like, look, you're going to be part of a DAO if you want to be, that's there for you. You're going to have the opportunity to develop your own games or join indie developers that are funded and building with the avatars. And then the other part is, I think if you ask me to sum it up in a nutshell, it's play with your crypto. Now, crypto as a, not just gaming side and NFT side, but crypto as a whole is growing as fast or faster than the internet in terms of adoption, right? New people are getting their first Bitcoin every day. So when you look at that line chart, we don't run away from it. We say, play with your crypto. And that's what we're going to help you do. As far as I know, like we were the first to put out a way where you could literally like chuck crypto at each other. Like I've got tokens over here, ERC20s. We're in the metaverse together, and I'm literally gifting them to you by like spraying them around the game. People running around picking them up. It's like reverse Pac-Man. Those kind of simple things that sound simple on the surface can become game loops, and they can become very addicting things that we can all play together and get excited and talk about and share. That you would have no interest doing that. You wouldn't be able to do that without a blockchain backing that game engine. So that's kind of the stuff I think that takes it to the next level, and will have staying power.
Agro, what do you think for Splinterlands? What can we do? I was playing Avalon Hill games in like 1982. I started out playing. I don't even know if it was first edition Dungeons and Dragons. I because it goes back that far. I guess it was effectively. It wasn't called that time.
Was it the red box with the red dragon on it?
That's the basic set. I definitely had that, but no, I also had they were just one step above the stapled copies being printed in Lake Geneva. Like literally like photocopied rules from like 1978. So I'm a big fan of old school. How are we going to get these guys? I still hang out in some of these first edition groups. They're technical, but they're not webby. Like, in fact, if you know what I mean, a lot of them are chemical engineers and that sort of thing. Like, technical, but not webby. How do we get this cohort of gamers out there, maybe not those specific guys, but how do we get mainstream gamers on board with what we're doing? What kind of incentives can we offer? Do we offer that appeal to them?
Yeah. So when we build games, we build them around community, economy, and gameplay. And you have to do all three. And you can't, it's like walking and chewing bubblegum at the same time. You have to do both. So for the community, you have to make an engaging experience and make it so that people want to interact with each other and never leave, because it's actually the human on the other side of it is what's going to keep people there. There's lots of communities, but there's only one where you can find the guys that actually live in our community. So if you go somewhere else, you might find other people, but you won't find them. So you got to make it so that there's lots of connections. For the economy, you have to make sure that from the smallest minnow to the biggest whale, there's something for everybody to do, so that everybody can interact. There's something for them to do. If I'm on the low side of money, there's something that I can rent and I can play with and I can earn, and I can start building up my assets. If I'm on the higher end side, I need the maybe not every single day I'm going to log in and play. I got other things I might need to do, but I have to have a way that I can engage economically. And then from the gameplay side, everything has to be fun. And if there's one of those things that I think that the industry at large has actually failed at more than any others, it's making the game fun. Is that like, too often, a lot of the projects, and most of them are no longer part of this ecosystem. You come in, you do something incredibly repetitive, you get some tokens for it, and it wasn't fun, it wasn't exciting, but you were willing to click the button because there was money there. And then when prices went down, there were far fewer people that were willing to participate. And so the magic of this is really that you have to make it fun, you have to make it engaging. And so when you're thinking about the old Avalon Hill gamer type, I think that there's a lower hanging fruit, and the lower hanging fruit are like the millions of people on Roblox, the millions of people that are on Fortnite, the millions of people that are on your very traditional games. And so what we have to do is give them that same kind of gaming experience, not just like here's a DeFi game, and here's like a nice graphical wrapper for a DeFi project. No. You got to give them a good game. You got to make it fun. It's got to be like, I don't know if it all has to be AAA studio. There's lots of games that are not AAA studio. You can go find classics from Atari that people have spent like millions of years playing collectively that wasn't AAA. But ultimately, the game has to be fun, and it either has to connect you to some other people, and it has to help you earn. And that's a lot why we built our strategy around working with products like Unity, right? Mm-hmm. Unity has 1.7 million developers. If you log into the App Store and you look at the app, something like 70% of the mobile apps are built in this thing. And so rather than say, here's this very, very narrow swath of games that you're able to play, let's open it up to everything that anybody's ever thought of to play before, bring all of those different games and game varieties into this space, and let people pick and choose from whatever they like. And that way, maybe there's something that appeals to the Avalon Hill guys from the 1980s, but, maybe there's something that is here more that's closer aligned to the big popular things like Roblox and Minecraft. And, you basically can go look through all the genres of all the games, bring in some version because they've all been versioned to death. So, you'll find some of these games that are willing to participate and try their hand in Web3. And let's offer the community all of these experiences and then let them decide, does Web3 or at least this version of Web3 make it better? Is my life improved because I own this? Is it better because I can trade it and I actually get some value for my time? Is it a better experience to be able to go, collect governance tokens and then use your stake weighted vote to say, no, I want the game to operate this way, and to sort of like cooperatively battle the other people in the community to get the game to operate in certain ways or reward in certain ways. And my guess is that, it's not going to be for everybody. Not every single person is going to be convert from Web 2 to Web 3. In my experience so far, I get a lot of these people that tell me, once I've gone to Web 3 and once I own these assets, I don't want to go back to regular Web 2 games. Why would I spend that money? That money is just wasted. You go to the movies, you spend your $20, you get some popcorn and you watch the movie and it's all gone. And you anticipate that, you understand that, you're comfortable with that. But that's not how you want to spend like thousands of dollars, which some people do in games. So, we want this to be an experience where at the end of the day, if you get sick of the game, you can like sell, you can leave, you can get at least some of your money back, if not actually more than what you put into it back, and go on to do something else. And that to me, if we can let all these other games participate, if we can bring the communities that they've already built with them, and we can open up the space to literally everybody that is part of that Web 2 world, and try to greet them with open arms and as simple of an onboarding experience as we can create, we're going to get a ton of people here, a ton of experiences, and retention's going to go through the roof.
Awesome. Great answer.
Time flies when you're having fun, Justin. Time flies. We're already reaching the final remarks of this amazing panel. And I would like to give you guys the opportunity to speak to your communities and make any kind of announcements that anything you're developing, the audience should expect something from your end, or any kind of announcement you would like to make.
Yeah. Is there any way you want to send people anything they should look at new releases you have coming up, your most current thing? Want to shout out a URL? This is the time to do it. Nope, nobody. You want to follow you on Twitter? Anything? Come on.
Yeah, I'm happy to go. So, like I said, we got a ton of things that are coming. We have in Splinterlands itself, we have a tower defense game that's going to roll out next month. And we have this thing called the Secrets of Praetoria, which is like an empire building game. Think a little bit like Clash of Clans meets Web3. And almost kind of like back to your old school games. The big inspiration was Civ 3. So we have a lot of like Civ 3, like, flashbacks or something to that. You know, we have the MLSPA game called Goals. That's part of our Genesis League system. That's coming out next month. And then we have this whole arcade colony concept that, you know, once the guys are done with Goals, we're going to go spin up Arcade Colony and let people build whatever games here that they want and take, you know, whatever Web 2 experience they want and bring it over here. So I think Splinterlands is like off to the freaking races. And now we have some green candles that are back too, just in the general prices. I mean, this is a killer time to go find games, get into them, and this should be a nice fun wave for everybody to ride. So
you know, you've
check
got
us
so
out
much
at splinterlands.com.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say that again. I wanted
Just check us out at splinterlands.com. That's where you start. That's where you can find us. And we all hang out in Discord. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you know, there's a couple 100,000 of us in Discord, and you can come meet all your new friends and family there.
You know, since you are a card-based game, do you do any? I'm sure you do updating and adding of cards, because I would imagine you have to in order to keep things fresh. You know, anything that's topical? Do you have a Gensler card coming out that like debuffs projects so hard that they can't go anywhere, for instance? Because that would be funny to me. That's the sort of thing that's funny to me.
We put out a salty bear. So, you know, all the big spenders got salty during the downturn. And so we just got in the spirit of that, and we put out this giant salty bear, and everybody collected that. And he's a favorite card. You know, we have collabs. I'm working with some movie studios, and, you know, I've talked to some of the biggest brands in the world, trying to figure out how they get their content into this world. So, you know, I think we'll have a mini set that'll hit before the end of the year that's movie studio based, and we'll be bringing in characters that a lot of people are familiar with into Splinterlands. But, you know, it's a little bit too early to formally announce. But yeah, I mean, we're always looking at other intellectual property, other content, bringing it into our game, or helping people build their own games for it. And you know, well, there's some IP deals that are either signed or already in the works that we will be rolling out as we're able.
Fantastic. What about you, Danny? I think you mentioned that you have some room for developers that are coming and looking to develop you know, game elements on your metaverse platform. You know, where's your expansion happening right now?
In all directions. So of course, yes, we have our APIs that any developer can come and use Upland, and we have 50,000 daily active users who are just thirsty for more games that leverage the Upland ecosystem. So any developers, it's permissionless, can connect their existing game into Upland, connect to the Upland economy, and have the user's identity and assets ported to their game as well. That's something that's ongoing, and we've seen amazing both other game studios that a lot of them are Web 2 but want to dip their feet into Web 3 metaverse come in, and also the community themselves teaming up with developers and building things that what they call a layer 2 metaverse that leverage the ecosystem, but it's their own game. That's super exciting. We just had our Genesis Week, which is our big yearly conference with a lot of our developers and our big players, and we announced cafes. So cafes, I think it's not a gaming feature; it's a social feature, but also has a lot of opportunity for content creators. So maybe the next Crypto Unlocked can be at one of our cafes, where you walk in to an immersive space with Ready Player Me avatar, and you can actually interact in person in your avatar. That gives you a more personalized experience. So now we have a lot of our node leaders kind of have their governance meetings there with their avatar, as opposed to discussing on Discord. You actually see a change of behavior that is a lot more suited to in-person meetups than it is for Twitter and Discord, which is very encouraging for the community. We announced the launch of Tokyo in Upland, and we're going to announce a very big partner from Web3 who's going to partner with us on the launch of Tokyo. City launches in Upland are like the most competitive events. We have like 83 mints per second, and they've all been sold out in the past year at least. So a lot of things are happening in parallel, and it's a very exciting time to be here.
Fantastic. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next session in the next few minutes. So let's go ahead and talk to Kevin and Jesse. Kevin, anything coming up on your side that you would like to announce or URLs you'd like to point people to?
Sure. I'm sad that we didn't get to go into DAOs more. I think that's something that really is going to transform gaming as we know it. Gaming is very social today. DAOs are the most social blockchain application you can think of. Every single clan or organization in gaming, if we assume that items will be owned, some of them will be earned by groups of people. They will be managed by DAOs, and so we take DAOs very seriously at Dakoko. We've been building them since 2017, and that's sort of how we view our pathway to decentralization, is taking the in-game DAOs that we currently have, our planetary syndicates, all of which actually compete for a stream of inflation, have treasuries, allocate to projects, build games, and do a lot with them. We look at them as partners in the pathway to decentralization. So we'll be this year looking to take key elements of how Alien Worlds is constructed, how our lore is constructed, and involving the community in a very real and egalitarian way. So we're really excited about that. And I think everybody out there should be looking at how DAOs in gaming are going to transform everything. Same thing as Agrod said, visit alienworlds.io, scroll down to the bottom, hit the Discord, come in, meet your new friends. And it's a really fun place to be. So thank you very much for having me. And I've really enjoyed all the answers, everybody on the panel.
It is a pretty cool metaphor. Your incorporation of the DAO and how it incorporates with the actual story building itself is pretty sweet. I always think of the Galactic Council from Star Wars, essentially, like where they have the little pods that are all, you know what I mean? Like this, it's like because you've got people representing different worlds, different collectives, and then voting. Very cool. Jesse, what about you? What's coming up with Aavegotchi?
There's a ton happening on just about every front with Aavegotchi right now. We've been talking as a community talking about the year of the Gotchi, and there's a lot of good reason. So you want to go to aavegotchi.com, you want to follow us on Twitter, and you're going to start seeing some announcements in the weeks and even the days ahead about more details on Gotchi Chain that was recently announced but hasn't been really fleshed out publicly. All I can say right now is Gotchi Chain, the supernet running with the support of Polygon, is going to be really unique in a number of ways. When you talk about onboarding to a new chain, the common way is the airdrop. One thing I can say is what we're not doing the typical hey, move some funds or some assets over to our chain and you're going to get your cut of the mill, run of the mill airdrop. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be better than that. And it's going to be something that aligns with and emphasizes the ownership of your Aavegotchi. And then we have a ton of games in the works. I didn't really get much time talking about the fun part because I kind of pushed back on that and gave an alternate perspective, but we obviously care about that. So you're going to see announcements around a game called Gotchi Guardians. It's kind of in the shadows right now, but it's going to come out in a big way. We've got the focus on fun. We're bringing in the game director, Jason Slama. He was the game director of Gwent in The Witcher 3, and he knows how to build an addictive, really in the best way, kind of quality game. And what he's doing with our tower defense Gotchi Guardians is really special. I'm super excited to show off more of that, as well as some puzzlers, some other games made by the community like Gotchi Miners, Gotchi Heroes. These are all going to debut on the Gotchi chain. And what you get is your Aavegotchi is going to really start to see those shared trait sheets matter. All those traits that are on chain are going to have an impact across these various games. So yeah, aavegotchi.com. Get your, we don't say friends, we say FRENS probably, so you guys probably do too. So meet your friends in the Discord. That's where we're most active in terms of just hanging out, and DAO call every Sunday. So if you want it moved to Saturday. Every Saturday, 2 p.m. UTC, we're hanging out, and we're in the Gotchiverse and we're in the DAO. So
beautiful. Thank you guys. Thank you for coming. And actually, I'd love to follow up and do a Twitter Spaces around the same topic. You should all come back and join us for that if you can make it. We'll talk more about DAOs because that is a very good point. J-Rod, I know that we have to get back on schedule a little bit, so let's. You anything else? Are we ready to wrap up this panel and move on to speaking to B&B?
Yes, I just wanted to say thanks. Thanks for joining and for sharing your experience and your knowledge. It's been a really knowledgeable panel, and I'm really happy you could join. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, We really appreciate everyone. So many active games. Love to see it. You know, a couple of years ago, you speak to I would speak to 3 GameFi projects, and none of them would have actual functioning games with players. So it's a whole different world now. It's wonderful that you guys out there making something fun. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. All right, take care. All right, awesome. So that was fun. That was fun. I love to talk about games. I don't know. What do you think, J-Rod? Did all your questions get answered?
Well, I like to play games. Also, I can talk about games, but yeah, gaming. It's quite fun. I started to like this.
Well, good. You know, I'm very excited to bring Adam on with us. BNB is really one of the biggest and most used chains out there. I want to hear about what their approach to gaming is. So let's go ahead and bring Adam on. Hi, Adam. How are you today?
Hey, Justin. Hey, Gerard. Thanks for having me here today. Super cool panel just before about gaming. Yeah, it was very interesting to see what's everyone is building, and I'm in phase with a lot of the opinions that were expressed just before, especially with all the terms GameFi, play to earn, and how we move from that, how we go to mass adoption. There's a lot of similarities in the thinking we're having at the BNB chain, so it was really cool.
Great.
That's awesome.
I would say maybe we can begin asking you a bit about your background, how you started on BNB chain, and what's also the link between Binance and BNB chain, how that works in practice.
Very good question, actually. Very good question. So from my end, I joined the BNB chain adventure a while ago, 1.5 years now. I'm around, mostly doing a partnership and BD. So basically, what does it mean for blockchain? BNB chain is 1.2 million daily active users right now, something like that, including 1 million weekly active gamer. So we're always on the lookout to offer them great experience, very simply. So for that, we need cool projects to build on the chain, and we need great infrastructure providers. So people that are building on the chains find all the tools they need to build the experience exactly as they envision it. So most of the days doing that. About the difference between Binance and BNB chain. So now I'm working for the BNB chain foundation. As we all know, Binance has initially created BNB chain, the blockchain, and then as we are moving towards our journey of decentralization, more and more we're separating the entities. So today, BNB chain is run by their validator. So it's POSA, Proof of Stake Authority. So there is a set of validators that run the chain, and there is more and more. Right now is 29. I think we're hoping for 44 by the end of the year. One step at a time, getting things more and more separated. So we have a strong DNA born from Binance, but now more and more trying to fly by ourselves.
Sure. You know, and when BNB chain launched, I actually covered that press release. I did an interview with you guys at the time. One of your stated goals was to bring on the next billion users into Web3. So you've got quite a job ahead of you, Adam. Now, of course, BNB has been very exceptionally, prominent, very much in the press, used quite a bit. Certainly one of the most used chains. What are you doing do you believe that GameFi or Web3 gaming is an important part of bringing in those next billion, normies, people outside the space into Web3? And what are we doing to stimulate, the use and development of games using BNB chain?
Absolutely. The way there were interesting reports. A16Z, they released the yearly report, and we were actually in BNB chain super in phase with what they thought of gaming. That will be potentially the next big leg of adoptions from Web 2 to Web 3. So bringing more and more people to our universe, I'll say. as the panel just before, they were explaining it very well. Web3 gaming, it brings something more on top of Web2 gaming. They spoke a lot of ownership. I think it's going to be a lot around that, the fact that you can own your assets in the future. And what really matter for it is going to be how easy it will be for Web2 people to come to Web3. So definitely, we believe that gaming will be one of the big leg of adoption. I bet on it to move this current 1.2 million into 1 billion soon enough, hopefully. So for that, we're working with a lot. This is where infrastructure partners are really important. For example, Danny from Upland, just before, she was talking about the account abstraction that Upland is using. It is actually something very important for adoption. We know how the recovery seed mess is. How is it? How complicated it is to set up a wallet and start, and even top it with gas. So gasless technology like Bioeconomy and this kind of infra will be critical, I think, in the future. And today, people that are building Web3 games, they can make it super accessible. With account abstraction and gasless experience, it can be very fantastic. Recently on the BNB chain, we had a project, it was a couple of weeks ago. The name will come back to me. It was Lifeform, sorry. Lifeform. So super simple concept, but genius at the same time. They make, you take a selfie from their app, and it will design automatically a cartoon avatar of the picture you just took. And then you can mint it as an NFT, and eventually you will be able to play it into a metaverse and things like that. So you mint yourself into an NFT, a cartoonish NFT, and you go to enjoy the experience in several partners that they're having. And they were super successful. They were reporting consistently for several weeks, 1.7 million, 2.5 million daily active users that were minting those NFTs. And why they were able to do that, I believe that the way they mixed all the infrastructure and mixed that, what I was just saying before, account abstraction and gasless technology, that was the perfect formula for adoptions. Because a Web2 player now, he doesn't have to worry about creating a wallet. He's doing the way he knows Google address, Apple ID, or a basic email address. And he doesn't have to top it up with gas to interact with the blockchain and pay gas fees. So he do his experience, he discover what it is, and if he like, he stay. And I think that is what is going to be the major pair of tools in the future for Web3 adoption. So looking out for partners like that, this is what we do.
So in terms of what does your program look like for attracting game devs and game studios to work on BNB chain? I know that, like, I've been in touch with marketing for a long time from BNB.
Yeah.
So I know that you've done a number of hackathons and that sort of thing. You have a national and decentralized events, but how are you bringing in these GameFi devs and to produce their projects compatible with BNB chain or on BNB chain? And what is it that they need most from you in terms of support?
This is actually also a very good question. So usually when games are interested to build in blockchain and that we enter in contacts, the main things that they are looking for is make sure that they have all the tools that they need. So the infrastructure I was just speaking about before, make sure it's there. And we address their problem. So there is the tech part, I'll say. There's the support part and there's the marketing part. I'll divide it into three parts, and I will go quickly one by one. The tech part, they need tools. It can be things we can develop by ourselves. I don't know if you saw our recent announcement about OPBNB that was just launched. It's directly targeted to gamers, among others type of projects. But basically, it will enable to do much more, much faster for much cheaper. And this was a current request. We really listen to the feedback. This is what we do. So a lot of people were asking us that at some point gas fees for them was a little bit of an issue. So we initially slashed the gas fee on the BNB chain on our layer 1 from 5 GUE to 3 GUE. It happened a couple weeks ago. And on top of that, we released a couple of technologies. So there was the KBNB, and now there is also PBNB that can be used. So we offer this set of tools that we develop ourselves, and at the same time, looking always for infra partners that's providing a real added value. We always make sure to try to negotiate kind of a discount. We have what we call the Kickstarter program. So I really love that program because it's really win-win-win for everyone. In the way that it's a win for us because we give some coverage for all our infra partners, and we have more and more solutions to offer to projects that build on the BNB chain. It's a win for the infrastructure partners because for them, it's a right way to generate leads. People that are directly interested and looking for these kind of solutions, they know where to find it. So it's a direct funnel for them. And the last one, it's right for the projects because they get some juicy discounts that the infra partners are willing to do. So it helps a lot. And usually it's a lot of feedback. If we hear 2-3 times, oh, we need that kind of tools, actively the team, the BD team, we will be on the lookout to find the partners and convince them to come over BNB chain because there is a lot of people that will be very happy to use their services.
Right.
In terms of marketing, then you know how is it with the chain. So of course, a social media shout out. It go from a simple retweet and a welcome announcement toward the AMA. So BNB chain, we never chill project. We will never tell you, okay, go buy this token, go buy this NFT or things like that. We always take a step back because we're not qualified, and you know how those things are. We don't want to advise. It's always complicated. We teach how to do good due diligence and research by yourself, and also let everyone knows new projects that are live, and not talking about their token, but what they are building behind. What is the added value that they are bringing to the chain? Why, as a user, it will be interesting for you to check what it is. So we organize AMA around different kind of topic to give a chance for everyone to speak about what they are doing. It can be after, the social media firepower that we're having is quite interesting, and a good community, so targeted community and so on. A couple of offline events. We're cooking some things for ETHCC, hopefully a little bit of an alpha that will be a little bit oriented towards gaming. So hopefully you're going to see that pretty soon, later in July. And then the last one, the support. There is several things that we can provide. So it's always case by case. Every project, we do something tailor-made that corresponds a lot to them. So it can be a campaign like gas fee rebate. When you launch your project, for example, let's say you go with Bioeconomy, so you have to support that added gas cost, and we want you to put all your budget into your go-to-market strategy. Go to speak to our audience already, convince them that what you're doing is cool, so they will come over. And don't worry for the other things. So for the 3 first months, usually we'll support projects that are in need of it and things like that. We have grant program and so on. It really tailor-made.
Great, fantastic, thank you.
Is there? Yeah, I wanted to know: is there any big game already developed in BNB chain? Maybe you could mention the names for people to look it up. Maybe create an account or.
Definitely. So there is several kind of game. So that targeting different. So we have Gaming for a Living, which is a company that launched recently with their first game, Elemental Riders. As the name suggested, it's they're really based on play to earn and try to reimagine the economy and have something that will be stable. I think one cool topic maybe for another day to speak about play to earn is like how you make play to earn a sustainable business model that doesn't go Ponzi, because so far the only way to bring money in and retribute players was to have other new players coming, and unfortunately at some point it will not work. So how we do that best? Gaming for a Living is taking the bets, so hopefully they'll make something cool. But the quality of their game is quite cool. I invite everyone interested to take a look. There's also a couple of games that are very interesting. It's a term like I'm starting to use like Web3 esports. So Cyber Titans have launched recently on the BNB chain. They are to call an auto chess. So it's a mode for the people that know a little bit about League of Legends and Riot. They also launched this game that's quite popular, Teamfight Tactics. So it's Cyber Titans is from that type of game, auto chess. So 8 players play against each other every round, and in the end you have 1 winners. So it's very interesting because it gives a strong esports potential and unlock new things that Web3 can do, organizing tournament, or just when you do ranked game now, you know, you can lock a small amount of tokens for the people that like to spice a little up their game and go to measure yourself against others, or to organize, you know, tournament, or the system of battle pass through NFTs and things like that. They're exploring a lot of things. I think they'll have a bright future. I only wish that for them. There's Eldarun that launch. I'll do a little bit of name dropping because there's a lot of cool things to explore, and many more that will actually be shortly announced on the during the ETHCC for the one that want to take a look and will be around. But one thing I can tell is the quality of the game is increasing. You know, we were, I feel, moving from Web3 developers trying to do game, from more and more Web2 developers Web2 game developer trying to develop Web3 games. And you feel it in terms of quality of the game, where I think as of today, saying AAA for a Web3 game, maybe there is something that I haven't seen yet, but it's a little bit of a big term because it's implied hundreds of millions and years of development. So maybe still a little bit early, but we're getting there. I feel that we're getting there. The next month are going to be interesting for the entire space. What I'm seeing, the teaser that I'm seeing, the games release more and more at the event is more and more exciting. So look very bright. The bear market is well used, where people are building well for gaming.
You know, in terms of percentages, how important is GameFi itself in terms of your overall user growth strategy? Is it just one slice of the audience that you're going after? I mean, 1 billion people is a lot of people. And is in terms of prioritization, how important a tactic is it?
It's a good question. I think internally it depends a lot of people. So we're a team, you know, doing partnerships, and everyone have their affinities. This is something, I think this is a strategy that I like a lot internally. So if you believe hard in DeFi, you go for DeFi project, you bring what will be providing added value and so on. Gaming, Web3 gaming is definitely key for the future of deployment. In terms of percentage, I will give you, if I give you a number, might be a bullshit number like that. So, but I'll say, let me rephrase it that way. You know, BNB Chain, for the growth, we are looking for Web2 people. This is where we want to grow. The new users, like the previous bear market, we want to show Web2 people how cool is Web3. And BNB Chain is a very friendly chain to start this journey. This is what we've been doing in the past, and what I think we want to continue to do in the future. And let's be honest, if we want to get the 1 billion users, this is where we have to look. This is the Web2 pool of people. So gaming probably is going to be the next big leg of adoptions. I can't foresee millions and millions of Web2 players coming into Web3 when the experience is there, when the added value is there, when we have controlled a little bit, you know, the speculative and all the FI. That's why everyone was mentioning play to earn, game FI, this financial term, are probably they are full parts of the Web3 gaming experience, but not the entire part. Maybe esports will be one, ownership will be, in my sense, a big one, and GameFi will be another one. But I do not like so much restraining Web3 gamings to GameFi only. I think a lot of fellow Web3 builders on the panel before were highlighting it. So yeah, Web3 gaming, big level of adoption, and I could see millions of players coming in. It's very important on the one of the top priority of BNB chain in the future, for sure.
That's fantastic. You know, we really appreciate BNB and you taking the time to speak to us today. I'm going to ask the same gotcha question. I've been asking this question for, I think, 3 years. And it's funny because we're closer to an answer than we had been before. So the question is, Adam, what is it going to take to create blockchain Fortnite? Because even we had some of the most successful games on the top 10 list. I think every game that we just had in that last panel was off the top 10 list in terms of users or monthly active users. What is it going to? But it's still a drop in the bucket compared to the kind of audience that Fortnite pulls in. What's it going to take? Because right now I don't know a single chain, even using AWS servers in order to handle that kind of load. Certainly can't do it on chain. I don't know any projects that can handle that kind of load at all. What is it going to take to make that happen, man?
It's the question we all wish to have the answer. I think very soon. I think very soon. When I say very soon, is probably 2024, 2025. I'll put a coin to bet on that. Why? I think that first, when you're doing partnership and BD for blockchain, you see a lot of tech every day. You see tons and tons of tech. So you see one particularly interesting is the background of the team building those projects. So what about gaming? Like I was just speaking about gaming for a living, right? Their CEO, Manel Sort, if I'm not mistaken, was the former head of studio for Kings, so Candy Crush. So there's high profile Web2 gaming seasoned dev that are coming over Web3 that firmly believe in it. They come with a know-how and they are executing. So it's coming there. You see that's the next wave of game. You see the AAA studio starting to pay a lot of interest to Web3 gaming. I think now everyone look like how cold is the pool? Everyone waits someone put a toe on the pool, and once someone will be inside, they're all jumping. And it has started. People are developing games. What we should remember is that AAA game or game that will eventually lead to mass adoption take years of development. For anyone that's been a little bit of a gamer, how long we've been waiting for the next version of the game we love. I still remember personally waiting countless years for Age of Empire 4. So we know these kind of things. So
Fallout, the next version of Fallout. I'm still waiting for what's the new one? Star Atlas. And Star Atlas is out. Star Citizen.
That's running joke.
I've been working on an MMO for the past 6 years, but it is going to come out at the end of this year. Heroes. But when it does happen, when we do have, and I don't mean specifically Fortnite, although maybe, right, like they could do that and just make a blockchain, but a game of that magnitude or anywhere near that magnitude of playership, as doing on the biz dev side of things, is it going to come from one of these, granted, very innovative, lots of smart people in the GameFi space, love to talk to them because I love to talk to small shops like that, small dev shops. Is it going to come from them, or should we be more cynical and be like, yeah, EA is going to maybe buy somebody and then come out with something, Blizzard, somebody who has the heft, Epic is going to buy that, and then they're going to be like, oh yeah, now we dominate the space.
That's a question I'm asking myself every day, and I think everyone taking bets now on the BNB chain side. Actually, I don't mind sharing it. We're betting on I'll say smaller scale studio that taking the step to be the leader of the next mass adoption. Because I just think they will move faster. They're more flexible and they understand Web3 faster. They will not be locked how hard it will be for Web2 company to fully embrace something Web3. How fast a Ubisoft or a Blizzard can adapt to a Web3 environment, you know, and making the transition accepted by their base of their user base. It's been tricky. We've seen a couple years before the trial with Ghost Recon, right? And they were. It was very important. I think it was a very important milestone for the future of Web3. What's have been happening there. And there's a lot of lesson to be taken out of it. I think everyone taking their bets. You know, like game like Stardew Valley, Terraria, Vampire Survivors. If you know this kind of game, like super humble games that end up being massively played by players all over the world. So it's a way to see things. Or yes, Web3 studio, but yeah, Web2 big studio. But is a Web2 big studio like does Blizzard is going to move World of Warcraft Web3 on day one? You know, that's probably something in the future. We saw an interesting hint about the next GTA, right? They kind of hinted that you will be able to something linked to cryptocurrency concept. So it's a lot of bet. BNB chain right now, we bet a lot on the people that have the passion and that believe in it. You know, like I think it will be important that the people are building Web3 game believe in Web3 and don't see as a quick money grab. Now, especially in bear markets, now send a lot of lesson. It's tough for people, and you really in the end here because you believe in it. Otherwise, you move to a new trendy sector, or no need to name drop, but we understand each other. I can see, but yeah,
you know.
Yeah, can you imagine, Jose, GTA, where we've already done some PvP mechanics with some blockchain games where you can actually have a contest and earn the other person's NFT. But can you imagine GTA where you just roll somebody and you end up with NFTs in your wallet? That would be wow. that would be wild.
That's making believing
for the way to steal NFTs on a legal way.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you earn them by shooting the other guy, virtually speaking. But hey, it's been awesome speaking with you, Adam. Thank you so much for taking the time. You should come on our spaces as well. We'd love to have you talk about this a little bit more. Want to know more about what BNB is doing. Is there anything you want to point toward in terms of people keeping up with your latest developments in the GameFi space? What should they follow in order to keep up with you?
First of all, Gerard, Justin, thanks so much for the invitation. It was very cool and a lot of on-the-spot question. I really appreciate it. And then about BNB chain, right now, we're constantly building. OP BNB, go to see if you want something scalable. If you want to speak, if you have a project, if you want to speak, if you want, at least you don't have to decide BNB chain day one, but you're always welcome to reach out to us and know what we can do for you. So if you're building something cool, you want to evaluate BNB chain, you're more than welcome to reach out. We'll be super humble to see how we could collaborate. And who knows, maybe it will be at the beginning of a very long and successful partnership.
Fantastic. Well, I hope so. Certainly somebody will crack the code eventually. But we appreciate you taking the time to speak to us, Adam, and hope you have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. Well, there we go. There we go. That was pretty cool. What do you think, J-Rod? We got to make the next episode about music, don't we? We're now getting into the mellow part of the season. I can't hear you, J-Rod. I can only hear your music. Are you with us? Nope. Can't hear you. J-Rod played music cue, and now I can't hear what he's saying. But it has been.
I was muted.
Oh, you were muted. Okay.
So was my time now.
Are you stoked to go play some GameFi games now? Go play some Web3 games?
You know that I never play actually a Web3 game, only once at a conference, but
Mhm.
I'm all about news, so it's like I have to choose what to do. But I will now definitely create an account. I want to test
Mhm.
all the tower bridges kind of defense games that were mentioned today. I want to test the Axie Origins, Splinterland, Alien Worlds. I want to test them all out and see what it's
Mhm.
about, right? And how this how merging crypto blockchain technology with gaming enhances the
Right.
gaming experience, right? I really now I really want to play some games. I think I'll cut today and I won't work the remaining time. I will go play some games.
J-Rod works constantly. He's our news editor, so I don't know if this really happens. I'll be surprised, but he should. He should take some time to play some games. You know what I like about it is that I grew up in the days when we had arcade, we had these cabinet games. Pac-Man. We had the Space Invaders and Dig Dug and Asteroids, Centipede, stuff like that. The thing is, by having restrictions in terms of the memory, the RAM that they could run, and the kinds of graphics that they had, they actually made the gameplay more innovative. Like in some ways, I think when you didn't have graphics to rely on, you had a more like the mechanics of the game itself were more interesting because that's what you had to work with. So I hope that we are coming across the same dynamic with GameFi, where there's kind of taking the limitations of what they can do and offer and making it work for them in terms of providing something new. I hope so. And definitely, I want to check out that tower defense game too.
Yes, and also I want to take time to say thanks to the audience. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for listening, and thanks for being part of the Benzinga community. I really love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. And well, you would like to tell us a bit about the future of crypto event? We have a date.
Yes, yeah, we do have a date, and I don't have the date in front of me. It's at what, November
14th.
14th. I was about to say 17th.
November 14th in New
Yes.
York, Future of Crypto. Hope to see our guest today. And there's a lot of things to cover this year. To talk about regulations, AI development, gaming, altcoins, Bitcoin that has recently surpassed the 50% market dominance,
Right.
meme coins. We have plenty of things to talk about, and you can't miss Future of Crypto event Benzinga at New York in November 14th.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. We should definitely keep shouting that out. We're lining up guests now. I'm kind of actively doing outreach around that. And we had a really good cohort of people last year. We had Bored Ape Yacht Club there with us. We had Rareable, we had B&B Chain, we had all sorts of projects. Illmind was there in all sorts of different areas, straddling sort of DeFi and also in NFTs as well. So that was cool. It's going to be lit. It's going to be a great show. And of course, in the meantime, twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 p.m. noon ET, Eastern time. J-Rod and I do Twitter Spaces every week, so look for us there. That way you don't have to be distracted by our distractingly handsome faces as you are here on YouTube, where it just must be almost impossible to follow the blockchain stuff because of our spectacular selves being so on camera and all. But no, I definitely had a fun time with you, J-Rod. Thank you for doing this with me today.
Make sure to follow Justin on Twitter. Also, if you want, of course, you can follow me. This is my Twitter lead. That's Justin's Twitter lead.
Yep.
And I think we can call it a day, right?
We're gonna call it a day. All right, guys. It has been great hanging out with you. Hey, you know what, Jose? Why don't I pull up one of those music cues to see us out with? Shall I? Maybe I should. I didn't test what was going to be at all. All right, everyone, take care of yourselves today. If possible, get away from the computer at some point or another. Out your face from the phone. You got to take care of yourself. Not everything's about crypto after all. as my family is often telling me. And with that, I'm going to play some music and peace.
This was Benzinga Crypto Unlocked episode 3.
There we go. All right, everyone. Take care.
Bye.